Hey guys, what we do on our 4.2 notes will be to find f of x for a given value of x. We will also find the general solution and the first three values for x. Now, let's look at the first one. Is f of x equal to plus 3 cosine of pi over 9 x minus 6? You should understand that f of x is the same thing as y. So I can also say y equal to plus 3 cosine of pi over 9 x minus 6. Let's first find f of 8. To find f of 8, all you have to do is replace x by 8. And if you type it on your calculator, you will notice that f of 8 is equal to approximately 4.298. Again, that's using the calculator. You can just type the exact same function, make sure it's in radians, and replace x by 8. The next one says f of x is equal to 1/3. In other words, I'm putting 1.3 here for y. And I will keep my x on the left side because I'm used to have my x on the left side. And I will therefore have 2 plus 3 cosine of pi over 9. And inside parentheses, I have x minus 6. And I will have it equal to 1.3. By the way, when putting this into the calculator, don't forget to put parentheses around here. Because if you don't put parentheses, you might get the wrong answer. All right, let's go ahead and use algebra to evaluate this. The first thing I need to do, of course, is to subtract 2 from both sides. And if you subtract 2 from both sides, you will end up with 3 cosine of pi over 9 x minus 6 is equal to, if you subtract, by subtracting 2 on both sides, you get negative 0.7. Once you get negative 0.7 here, the next thing to do is to get rid of what's in front of the trig function, meaning the 3. So what I'm going to do is I will divide both sides by 3. Over 3 and over 3. This one we cancel. Once you reach this level, you want to figure out a way to get rid of the cosine on the left side. To get rid of this cosine, I will apply the inverse cosine. And if you apply the inverse cosine, you end up with pi over 9 x minus 6 is equal to the cosine inverse of negative 0.7 over 3. Using your calculator, you will figure out what this cosine inverse is. And that one represents your principal value. So if you use the calculator, you end up with the principal value is approximately equal to 1.806. Once you reach now this level, what I will do is I can multiply everything by 9 and divide by pi, or I can distribute here. So what I will do is multiply everything by 9 and divide by pi. So if I multiply everything by 9 and divide by pi, from the principal value, I will get two different solutions. Remember, cosine is your plus and minus. So the first solution would be, I will do that in red, it will be let's do x minus 6 is equal to 9 over pi. Remember, multiplying by pi, 9 and divide by pi. And inside the parenthesis, I will have the principal value, meaning 1.806 plus 2 pi n. The second one, on the other hand, will be x minus 6 is equal to 9 over pi. Instead of having 1.806, I will have negative 1.806 plus again 2 pi n. If you solve this, you will distribute the 9 over pi. Pi on your calculator, use the pi button on the calculator. That will give you the value. Now, if I distribute this, I will end up with x minus 6 is equal to, using your calculator, 9 over pi times this will give you about 5.175 plus, if you multiply 2 by 9, you get 18. Pi and pi will cancel, it's just 18n. Doing the same thing on this side, you will end up with x minus 6 is equal to 9 over pi times this, times this negative will give you negative 5.175 plus, it will be the same 18n. Now let's go ahead and continue. At the end of this one, you finish with x equal, the solution will be 11 because I'm adding 6, 11.175 plus 18n. And this one, the solution will be x equal point, I'm gonna add 6, and that will be 0.825 plus 18n. Note that the one I'm about to highlight represents your solution. So this one is part of my solution, and this is part of my general solution, those two. All right, let's go ahead and find the first three positive. You can go ahead and plug in values here and plug in values here, but I got a way to show you. I will go on and plug in 0 here and plug in 0 here. The first two solutions are so far 0.825 is the first one because that's the smallest positive. The next one will be 11.175, and the last one I will plug in 1 here and I will get 18 plus this, and you will get 18.825, and these represents the first three positive solutions. I will do the same thing on number 2, and I will go slightly faster. I will skip a few steps. By the way, if I plug this on the calculator, I will plug in this using parentheses around here. Make sure it's in radian, and you should get to approximately 4.092. I will do one of these in class to make sure that you get it right. F of x is equal to 6.7. I will start by saying 5 plus 2 sine of pi over 4 x minus 10 is equal to 6.7. Just as we did earlier, I will go ahead and subtract 5 from both sides. After subtracting 5 from both sides, I will divide by 2, and you should reach sine of pi over 4 x minus 10 is equal to 1.7 over 2. Once you find the sine inverse on both sides, you should end up with the principal value will be equal to the sine inverse of 1.7 over 2, and you should get approximately 1.016. That's the first principal value. Note that for sine, you do pi minus for the second one. So if I do pi minus 1.016, in other words, I'm doing 3.14. This pi is the pi button on your calculator, and you should get approximately, I believe it's 2.126. Maybe I need to show you this on the calculator. The first thing I will do is the sine inverse of 1.7 divided by 2, and once you complete this, that gives you the principal value, and you will do pi. You will use the pi button here minus what you previously got, and it should give you 2.1256, 2.126. That's where I got this value from. So note that these two are very important, this value and also this value. Now I can write my general solution using, of course, I'm not done with this. I would the first one would be pi over 4 times x minus 10 is equal to 1.016 plus 2 pi n, and of course 2 pi n because it's a sine function. Or the second one would be the 2.16. I will write it in green. It will be it's the pi over 4. Inside parentheses you have x minus 10, and you have it equal to 2.126 plus 2 pi n. If you solve it correctly, you should end up with, on this side, x is equal to 12.706 plus 8n, and this one you should end up with x is equal to 11.294 plus 8n. Note that these two actually represent your general solution. This is the first one, and this one, of course, is your second equation. Let's go ahead and find the first three positive value. The first three positive, you got to be careful. The first one will be not 11.294 and not 12.706, because if I plug in 1 here and I make it negative, it will give me something lower. So if I plug in -1 here, I will end up with 3.294. If I plug in -1 here, I should end up with 4.706. And now if I plug in 0 here, I will end up with 11.294. It's not always 0, the first one. If negative gives you a positive value, if by plugging a negative value, you still end up with a positive value, that's what you're going to use. So this represents my solution. All right, let's go ahead and move to the next one. On number 3, if you solve it correctly, again, it's cosine. We just did cosine as the very first problem, so I'll go ahead and skip a few steps. Here, the final answer will be approximately 2.798. F of x equals -4. If you solve it correctly, you will end up with -2 plus 5 cosine of pi over 11 inside the parentheses x plus 13 is equal to -4. So you will go on and calculate it. By the way, this is 11. You will go on and calculate it, and you will reach the step where you have a cosine of pi over 11 x plus 13 is equal to, here you will end up with a fraction, and that fraction will be, I'm going to give you the final answer so that you do it yourself. I want you to work all this by yourself, and I want you to get to the final answer. What is the final answer? The final answer for the general solution, the first one will be x equals -6.941 plus 22n, or x equal to -19.941 plus 22n. So you go ahead and plug in values. Note that this is negative, so you can plug in 1. This, on the other hand, if you plug in -1 here, you will not get a good value. So you cannot use -1. But plugging in 1 here will give me a value less than 19. So I will plug in 1 here first. Plugging 1 here will give me 2.059. The next one is by plugging 1 here. Since they're both negative, I plug in 1 here, and plugging in 1, actually 1 here gives you 2.059. 1 on this other end will give you 15.940, and you will keep going, and you will get 24.059. Note that you still got to do some work here. I will check your work in class. The last one is a sign. I will again give you just the answers. F of 0, you should get equal to 2. It's an exact value. F of x equal 0.03. Where are you going to work it? The three positive solution, actually, let me give you the general. This general solution will be x equal, the first one will be -4 is 0.442 plus 12n, and the other one will be x equal 4.443 plus 12n, and your solution will be 4.443, 11.556, and 16.443. And I will be expecting your answers. So your solutions should be these. If you end up with these solutions, then you got it right. If not, then come to class and we will try to figure out. Note that you still got to do all of your problems everywhere here. Don't forget.